Andy Roddick has never been one to offer hollow praise or manufactured compliments. That kind of superficial flattery simply does not exist in his DNA. This is a man who spent more than a decade dominating the brutal arena of professional tennis at its absolute highest level. He captured a Grand Slam title, stormed into 4 major finals, and forged his post-retirement voice on something far rarer than victories: unflinching honesty. He became the voice in the room who would look you dead in the eye and deliver the raw, unvarnished truth whether you craved it, feared it, or desperately wished to avoid it. So when a 43-year-old Andy Roddick sits across from a 20-year-old prodigy, someone less than half his age, and openly declares on his own platform, with complete sincerity, that she carries a level of self-awareness and ice-cold pragmatism he never possessed, at that tender stage of life, the entire tennis world stops breathing for a moment. Because those words do not slip casually from Andy Roddick's lips. They are not given freely. When he speaks them, they carry the weight of hard-earned wisdom, decades of scars, and a reputation built on never compromising his standards. And yet, there he was, one of the sharpest, most analytical minds tennis has ever produced, sitting beside his co-host Yen Veertime after an intimate conversation with Eala, visibly recalibrating his entire perspective in real time. His exact words landed like a quiet thunderclap. "There's no possible way I could have been that pragmatic, that deeply self-aware, especially while standing directly in the eye of a ferocious popularity storm, with the crushing expectations and dreams of an entire nation pressing down on your shoulders." Let those words settle deep, absorb their full gravity. A former world number 1. A warrior who knows, perhaps better than any living soul, the savage price required to survive and thrive at the pinnacle of this merciless sport. A man who has walked through fire, glory, heartbreak, and everything in between. And here he was humbled, not merely impressed, not excitedly hyping a bright new talent, humbled. And that single distinction, humbled rather than impressed, matters more than anything else we will unpack today. It shifts the entire narrative from admiration to genuine awe. To truly understand why this moment hit so hard, we must travel back to the very beginning, because the surrounding context paints the complete picture. The groundbreaking episode of Served with Andy Roddick was released on March 25th, but the conversation itself was recorded live during the intense atmosphere of the Miami Open, right in the throbbing heart of one of the most emotionally draining and mentally demanding weeks of young Alexandra's rapidly rising career. Picture the timing. She had just emerged from an exhausting, soul-testing 3-hour and 20-minute war of attrition against the crafty veteran Laura Siegemund in the round of 32. This wasn't tennis. This was gladiatorial combat under the blazing Florida sun. She lost the opening set, refused to surrender, clawed her way back with ferocious determination, forced a second-set tiebreak, and somehow summoned the resilience to close out a grueling 3-set victory. When she finally stepped off that sweltering court, she did not appear shattered, depleted, or emotionally wrecked. She carried herself with remarkable composure, calm, centered, almost serene, as though she had simply fulfilled exactly what she had come to accomplish and was already mentally shifting her focus toward whatever challenge awaited next. Just 2 days later, she delivered further proof of her growing mastery. She dismantled Magdalena Frech in straight sets with clinical precision, 6-3, 7-6, no drama, no visible emotional hangover from the marathon she had just survived. Pure efficiency, ice in her veins. It was in these back-to-back performances that the deeper truth began to reveal itself. What we were witnessing was not some temporary hot streak fueled by momentum or luck. This was the emergence of a clear, repeatable pattern, the unmistakable signature of a player building something lasting. Then came the storm that tested everything. Against the formidable 13th seed Karolina Muchova, Eala was dismantled with ruthless efficiency, 6-0, 6-2 inches under an hour. There was no silver lining hiding in the scoreline, no moral victory to cling to. That kind of swift, clinical defeat can inflict serious psychological damage on even the most talented young player. It plants poisonous seeds of doubt. Am I overrated? Were the impressive wins that brought me here against the right caliber of opponents? Am I truly prepared for this elite level, or am I merely capable of flashing brilliance in isolated moments? At that precise moment, Eala sat at a world ranking of number 46, having tumbled from a career-high number 29, reached only 9 days earlier. She had ascended the rankings at a velocity few had anticipated, only to collide headfirst into a brutal, unforgiving reality check. And yet, merely 2 days after that painful loss, she walked into Andy Roddick's studio. She sought no sympathy. She offered no rehearsed, safe excuses about simply needing to work harder. Instead, she sat down and dissected the intricate mental machinery of professional tennis with a clarity, maturity, and depth so profound that it stopped Roddick mid-sentence. It was not her victories that triggered his profound confession. It was the way she processed and articulated her defeat with honesty, insight, and emotional intelligence far beyond her years. There is something crucial you must understand about the unique burden Eala carries, something that makes her journey infinitely heavier than it may appear from the outside. She is the trailblazer, the first player from the Philippines to shatter the WTA Top 100 barrier, the first to storm into a WTA 1000 semifinal, the first to crack the elite top 30. Every match she plays is watched with breathless anticipation by 115 million souls back home. Every tournament she enters transforms into a national spectacle. Every triumph triggers a collective sigh of relief across an entire archipelago, while every loss is dissected, analyzed, and debated from every conceivable angle under the harshest spotlight. The pressure of being the first is profoundly different from the pressure of simply being great. When you are great, the world expects you to win and feels disappointment when you fall short. When you are first, the world watches with a different intensity. To determine whether someone like you truly belongs on this stage, whether your country's foothold in this global sport is genuine and sustainable or merely a beautiful but temporary spark. Eala has shouldered this immense responsibility since her teenage years, carrying the weight of a nation's sporting hopes on her young shoulders with remarkable grace. Roddick described it as a popularity storm, and it was an eerily precise metaphor. He wasn't referring to fleeting social media fame or routine press conference questions. He was speaking about the suffocating force that emerges when the sporting dreams and identity of an entire nation become concentrated into the performance of one single young athlete. He had tasted something adjacent to that pressure during his own illustrious career while representing the vast expectations of American tennis for over a decade. Yet even with all that hard-won experience etched into his soul, he openly admitted that what he witnessed in Eala was something he could not have matched at her age. That raw admission is what continues to pull me back to this story again and again. Roddick is no longer young or naive. At 43, he has spent decades in deep reflection, revisiting his own career peaks and valleys, his private mental battles, and the quiet moments when pressure silently eroded him in ways he only fully comprehended years later. And yet, when he looked at this 20-year-old standing fearlessly in the center of her own ferocious storm, he concluded she was already ahead of where he had been, not necessarily in raw talent or current results, but in something far more precious and rare: self-awareness, and the extraordinary ability to perceive herself with crystal clarity, even while chaos swirled violently around her, threatening to blur the vision of almost anyone else. From everything reported by those who followed the episode closely, this was never a superficial hype session. It wasn't filled with soft, easy questions and carefully polished, rehearsed responses. It was a genuine, unflinching exploration into the hidden mental architecture required to survive and flourish as a professional tennis player at the highest level, the kind of conversation that immediately exposes anyone attempting to fake their way through it. Eala did not fake it. She spoke with quiet authority about the crushing weight of expectation, demonstrating that she had not merely accepted it as part of the package, but had thought about it deeply, seriously, and repeatedly. She discussed the art of processing losses, not dodging them, not rationalizing them away, but deliberately sitting with the discomfort, examining what they reveal, and extracting the lessons they demanded. Andy Roddick, who has spent the better part of the last decade conducting hundreds of these conversations with players at every stage of their journey, possesses an almost instinctive ability to distinguish between someone who has been skillfully media trained and someone who has done the difficult, lonely internal work required for true growth. He saw the latter in Eala. He called her a gift to this sport. Not merely a gift to the Philippines, though she undeniably is that as well, but a profound gift to tennis itself and to every fan, player, and observer watching her journey unfold. Before sitting down with her, he was already fascinated. After the conversation ended, he emerged as a significantly bigger fan, repeatedly emphasizing how deeply impressed he was by what she is building. Now, consider what it truly means when a figure like Andy Roddick makes such a public declaration. He has accumulated 32 titles worth of hard-earned credibility. His entire value as a respected media voice rests on his refusal to exaggerate, inflate, or offer cheap praise. When he chooses to endorse someone at this level, he is deliberately staking a portion of that carefully guarded reputation. And he did not offer vague, feel-good compliments. He provided specific, concrete reasons. Her exceptional pragmatism, her striking self-awareness, and her rare capacity to operate with calm clarity even while surrounded by absolute chaos. He handed over the receipts for anyone willing to listen. That kind of endorsement does far more than simply make fans feel good about a player they already supported. It quietly reshapes conversations in the rooms where real decisions are made. Sponsors begin paying sharper attention. Tournament directors who were already curious suddenly view wild cards and opportunities through a different lens. The broader narrative begins shifting from promising young talent with potential to someone the sport itself is seriously investing in and building around for the future. And none of this is mere speculation. Right now, Eala stands on the threshold of the clay court swing beginning with Madrid this week, followed by the ultimate test at Roland Garros at the end of May. Clay remains the biggest question mark surrounding her game, and everyone in tennis knows it. Her hard-court identity is forged in aggression, blistering pace, and the ability to punish opponents who offer even the slightest opening. Clay, however, transforms the battlefield. It slows the rhythm dramatically. It rewards patience, relentless physicality, and the sophisticated skill of constructing points across long, grinding rallies rather than ending them in explosive flashes. The vulnerabilities that Muchova exposed so clearly in Miami, questions of movement, shot depth under sustained pressure, and consistency in extended exchanges, tend to become even more glaring and unforgiving on the slower red dirt. The surface reveals everything. It gives you more time to think, to doubt, and to overanalyze, which can become a dangerous trap for any player who struggles with uncertainty. But here is the deeper truth that Andy Roddick's powerful endorsement reveals about that very challenge. The core issue was never about raw talent or potential. The real test has always been whether Eala possesses the internal fortitude to endure a difficult, unfamiliar stretch on clay without allowing doubt to multiply and consume her, without permitting the deafening external noise to amplify whatever internal uncertainties she may already be managing. And with the full force of his hard-earned credibility behind every syllable, Andy Roddick just told the tennis world that she is one of the rare young players genuinely built to rise above exactly that kind of storm.